All right, today we're going to be looking at the most popular video that I've ever made on YouTube on the reboot of this channel. And it's one that I made a few months ago and a feat that I have never even come close to. This channel has over 10,000 views on it. And I don't really understand why, since it's just like my old, like all my other channel, like just like my old channel and this channel. But something in this particular video really hit home with a lot of people. When I took the transcript from this video and I rehashed it, the title, one of the job titles that it gave me was Don't Eat the Corporate Dog Food. So this must be back when I was using dog food as a metaphor for everything having to do with low quality living and food. But with that said, let's get into my short monologue for this video, for the new version of this video. You ever feel like your job is just barely keeping you alive? Like they're tossing you just enough scraps so you don't starve, but never enough to actually get ahead. That's not by accident. Welcome to the corporate dog food economy, where companies treat workers like stray animals, keeping us desperate, overworked, and always hungry for more. And today we're breaking down exactly how they do it and why you should never, ever settle for the scraps they're serving. Remember, people, don't eat the dog food. It's not good for you. It's not good for your dog. Hell, it's not even good for that Susie Rotten Crutch that keeps coming around right around 9 o'clock every night. Once she knows you're a little tipsy, she shows up. Her spidey sense is tingling. All right, so with that said, let's get into talking point number one. The illusion of job security. Why does this talking point always show its ugly head in every single video that I make? High turnover isn't an accident, it's a strategy to avoid paying fair wages, offering benefits, or allowing workers to build real financial stability. They don't want you building real financial stability, because if there's one thing I've learned about the workplace is that happy workers do not want anything to do with toxic work environments. Financial stability is just not built into the system. Workers have to be desperate. I myself am a desperation worker. I have no job stability. I have no financial stability. All I have is my paycheck, and every day I come to work to do the same thing. I work the fry later, I make hamburgers, and I get drinks thrown in my face. Every single day, it's the same thing. It's like you just turn your cheek to take a Pepsi on one side and a Mountain Dew on the other, and you just keep working like it's just normal. That's how bad the toxic work environment has gotten. We've normalized the bad behavior because offering fair wages, not a chance. The only people that matter at Evil Corp are the people that make the money, right? The executives, the shareholders, they're the only one else. For us normal people, for the paycheck people, we put on our little uniform, our little hats, and we flush what little dignity we have down the toilet once we get sick from eating the crappy food that we make. Talking point number two. The fear is the business model. Fear is the business model. That sounds great. How corporations keep you desperate. Unstable schedules, unpredictable hours, and low benefits aren't a mistake. They're deliberate tactics to make sure workers stay financially insecure and afraid to leave. This is why control comes up in every single script that I write. Financial insecurity is a mechanism. I discuss this topic all the time. But mental health and financial insecurity, they go hand in hand. When you are not making sufficient money to support yourself, your mental health starts to decline. And that's not an accident. Depressed workers are much better workers than people who don't have to work. Because if there's one thing that separates us from them, is that we have to go to work every day when we don't want to go to work every day. I'm a strong advocate for the 1 hour, 1 day work week. I know that there are people that think that I'm crazy, but when you aim this high, what else can they do? They can't say, well, maybe we can go to 38 hours a week. No, 1 day, 1 hour, and we'll negotiate from there. That's where we have to start with these corporations. Because if it were the other way around and they were advocating for something as ridiculous as this, they would make it seem like we were the ungrateful pieces of crap that didn't want to eat the dog food. But when it comes to what they want, in fact, I was just watching a video that said that they want more people working for free and for less money with no benefits. My Evil Corp in the last few months has gone to a model where they're hiring almost entirely hourly workers that are part-time, contract. You are not coming into a job that has benefits. You're not coming into a job that has any amount of job security. Like I said, I was sitting at my desk when a termination came in on Thursday. The girl put in her 2-week notice. Evil Corp said, no, thank you. You're fired. That's the kind of people that you're dealing with when it comes to this type of behavior. They're deliberate tactics to make sure that workers are uncomfortable. A comfortable worker is going to want things at work. The less comfortable they make you, the more likely you are to leave after a very short period of time. In fact, I've been told by many people that my current Evil Corp is making my life miserable at work so that I will leave. The joke's on them. I'm also a desperation worker. Regardless, they could put me in shackles, they could attach car batteries to my you-know-what, they could even sit there and hit me over the head with the newspaper all day while telling me how much of a big a piece of crap I am. It isn't going to faze me, because at the end of the day, I still have to eat, and I still have to pay for the Roach Motel that I live in. Because that's all I have. I don't own anything. I don't look forward to anything. There are no great vacations in my near future. There is no house. There's no family. There's no upgrade to the Prolmobile. In fact, at some point today, I have to take the Prolmobile in to have the brakes looked at because I'm getting afraid of the Prolmobile. And I'm already a person that's not comfortable with driving. And the more the Prolmobile squeaks, the more uncomfortable it makes me to get behind the wheel. So, with that said, let's move on to talking point number 3. The productivity scam. Job postings today expect one person to do the work of 3, but they pay like the year is still 1995. The irony of that is that I say this all the time in my videos. This is what ChatGPT generated. But for years, I've been saying that the wages are stuck at what they were 25 years ago. Like, I remember back then when I was a young lad thinking to myself, man, the guys that are twice my age, they're making bank. Look at those giant lifted up trucks they have. Look at the mansions they live in. These were ordinary workers doing a fraction of my current job back then. All they had to do was come to work, do one technology job, and they could afford to live a life. Some of them had boats, second homes, and every year they had long vacations. You're talking 4 to 6 weeks every summer. What have I gotten out of my work? Nothing other than depression, anxiety, and a fear of the future. This is intentional. They know what it costs to live. If you ask the executives or the shareholders to live on the amount of money that their lowest level employee makes, things would change. But with the way that they are right now, they don't care about me, the McWagey, making Happy Meals all day. They could care less if I'm miserable at work. In fact, they go out of their way to make certain that the wages don't get out of line. You think that time clock on the wall's there because They trust you? No. Everything about working at the bottom is about control. They control when you work, when you don't work, what you make, and every other aspect of your life. Me at the same time. Meanwhile, they're controlling what you look like at work. Remember, I heard this from a person at work to one of the salespeople. Fix your face because whatever's on your face, we don't want it. All we want to see is mixed smiley faces all day long. Getting a drink that hits you between the eyes doesn't mean you should frown or lash out at the customer. Remember, the next time that container of fries hits you in the chest, that's just the customer letting you know that you're doing a great job, and that's how they're letting you know. That's how your boss lets you know too. When he flings a hamburger at you and it hits you in the back of the head, he's just letting you know you're great. And this is how my current job and all my other jobs have been. They treat you like absolute garbage. This week's no different. In fact, I had a meeting with an executive and my boss this week in which I kept hearing the phrase, "Oh, you're throwing the entire team under the bus." No, I'm not. And they know that this whole corporation is not doing well. The customers are throwing more fries at the workers than ever before. And these are internal customers. These are people who are saying, "We don't like the taste of your hamburgers. Your soda is too watered down. And we don't like the look of your employees' faces. We want larger smiles. We want them to smile more while making less money." That's really what it comes down to. Meanwhile, executives at the top enjoy unlimited flexibility, bonuses, benefits, while the people at the bottom are told to be grateful for what they have. Remember, that's going to be every job. When you go in and you tell your boss, "Hey, I'm going to become homeless because you're not paying me more," what does your boss do? Oh, that sounds like a personal problem. It sounds like you're trying to live beyond your means. And you look at your paycheck and you think, living beyond my means? Is this guy nuts? They don't care about you. Once you understand that full effect that they could care less about what happens to you. They don't care if you can't pay your bills. They don't care if your family doesn't have enough resources and you've had to move into your car or back in with your parents. They don't care. Because remember, their ultimate employee that they would like there doesn't even need money. The employee that they would like to hire comes to work, smiles, lets them treat them like trash, and overall is obedient and quiet. They don't want someone like me in the workplace. Definitely not. People like me are shunned from the workplace. That's why every time I go into a job interview, I have to bite my tongue constantly because they ask stupid questions. Why do you want to work here is the most. I'm not allowed to curse on this platform, but if I could, I would. Because they know that you wouldn't show up. You wouldn't waste your time coming to a job interview if you didn't need the job. But they make it seem like they're offering you this great opportunity to make minimum wage. Because when they look at wages, it reminds me of that video of that woman who went and applied to a job as a as a facilities manager for a large hospital, and when she asked for $40, or excuse me, $40,000 a year in order to be on call 7 days a week, the guy laughed and said, "Now we're looking at more like 25,000 for being on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week." Can you imagine? That's their thought process. That somehow you can live on $12.50 an hour. Because in their mind, it's nearly twice the federal minimum wage of $7.25 an hour. So if someone can live on $7.25 an hour, offering you $12.50 an hour, wow, you should be grateful. You should be grateful for this can of dog food that we're going to give you every Friday that's supposed to last you till we give you another can of dog food on the following Friday. Don't like dog food? Well, that sounds like a personal problem. That sounds like a person who's entitled to more. Talking point number 4: how to escape the corporate dog food economy. Expose the scam. Talk about your experience. Share wages. Call out exploitive companies. They rely on silence to keep the system going. One of the things that irritated my boss the most about the senior manager that hired me was the fact that he openly talked about salaries. He was absolutely disgusted by this behavior because there were employees that were making close to the minimum wage. We're talking people who were making a couple dollars above the minimum wage doing their job. And he absolutely, and this is something I found out later on, this is one of the main reasons he went after him to fire him, is because he was trying to increase the salaries of all of his employees. Because he acknowledged the fact that they were exploiting all of them, that they wanted more people to clock out and keep working. And you have to talk about your experiences with work. Because if we're all quiet, then we all believe that we're experiencing this hellscape alone. But the reality is that we're all sitting at home on the weekend without anything to do because we can't afford to do anything. Today, I woke up, I had to wash my clothes because of my accidents this week, and I barely got to the gym on time at 8, and then I had to go to work. And you're asking, Millennial Steam, why are you working on the weekend? Because at 5 o'clock yesterday, on the dot, and this is something I could have gotten written up for yesterday, 5 p.m., there was a compromised system at Evil Corp. Some hacker broke into one of the computers of a very high level person. And that becomes an instant emergency, meaning I have to work late and I have to come in and work on the weekend. Just because one thing went wrong and there's no one else. No matter where a system goes down at Evil Corp, I'm that guy. I'm the guy that's got to come in and work at night. I'm the guy that has to come in and work on the weekend. I'm the guy that has to make certain that that person is working again as soon as humanly possible. So it's 5 p.m. I'm sitting there staring at the clock, talking to one of my lady coworkers. We're going back and forth on the instant messaging and talking about what we're going to do on the weekend. And she's super hot. And anyhow, 5 o'clock hit, and she was about to sign off of her computer because she works in another state, of course. And I write back to her. It's like, sorry, I can't go home. And she's like, why not? You've been wanting to go home for the past hour. Emergencies. And unfortunately, when that happens, just what are you supposed to say? Sorry, boss. The day's over. You're going to have to figure it out. You would be self-terminating yourself if you told your boss to figure it out at 5 o'clock on a Friday afternoon and that you won't be working on the weekend. So, yeah, that happened yesterday. That's why I didn't make an afternoon video. And luckily, I planned ahead, not knowing that morning, and made an afternoon video that morning instead of posting it that morning. Anyhow, to end this video with something that I've been missing lately: toxic positivity. So in today's toxic positivity, I'm just going to reiterate a point that I made at the beginning of this video. And remember, don't eat the corporate dog food. You deserve better. We as a society deserve better. We can do better than this. This isn't acceptable. The low quality of every aspect of our life, including our relationship with other people. I've noticed how much people dislike other people more so in the last few years than I ever have before. In fact, while I was getting ready to pull out of the parking lot today at Evil Corp, there was one of the students running around in the parking lot, and she stopped in front of my car. She glared at me, and I was like, what's that all about? I'm like, it's just people being people. I was at the gym this morning. It was the same thing. There were no smiles in the gym. Everyone is miserable because no matter how much money you make, it's not enough. Every time you make a little bit more money, the corporations find a way of relieving you of that money. So you can never feel like things are going to get better. And that feeling is very much so intentional.